Okay, I think you should be able to see me now and to hear me. Can you hear me? Everyone, can you hear me? Okay, what about now? Okay, nice. Welcome everyone. I think we have a question here, but there's a lot of noise in the background, so just give me a minute. What about now? Can you hear me? What about now? Can you hear me well? Can you hear me correctly? Let me know if you can hear me, or if there's still a lot of noise, or if there's something going on. I think you should be able to hear me correctly now. Okay, nice, super good. Okay, so sorry for that. There was a lot of um, there was a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, thanks so much for being here. Welcome everyone. Welcome again to another Global Hack Week. Uh, Give me just 1 second until I open my slides, and I think I have it right here. So let me just go here and share my slides. So welcome everyone. Uh, my voice is echoing. I think it's because of the mic. What about now? Is that better? My speaker should be my headphone, but I'm not hearing that. Yeah, there you go. Well, you should be able to hear me well, I think now. Is it still echoing? Do I still have echo or something like that? Well, okay, super good. Thanks so much for helping me with that. Okay, so let's just begin with this, like because we are super late and we're like 10 minutes late. So welcome everyone, welcome again to another Global Hack Week stream. Welcome everyone. So today you're going to learn how to create your first e-commerce API with Python. The title of the stream has been changed. It's not going to be with Python at the end because I just had a stream of Python yesterday, and I think it would be fun if we, instead of using Python, use Express or Node.js. So yeah, we're going to work into that. But yeah, So my name is David. You can call me David, Dave, Lazaro, however you want. I'm a coach here at the MLH. I'm also a software development engineer. Oh, yeah, you're not saying this. Yeah, sorry for that. Okay, yeah, so my name is David. You can call me David, Dave, however you want to call me. Lazaro is good too. I'm a coach here at the MLH, and also I'm a software development engineer at Aspen Tech. Also in communities, working as a GitHub campus expert, and I'm the founder of a hackathon here in Mexico called Hacks. Oh yeah, I'm from Mexico, so if you want to learn anything about tacos, about Mexican food, or anything like that, I'm the not official Mexican food advocate of MLH. I'm the official Mexican food advocate of here in the MLH. Well, not non-official, but I'm declaring myself officially the Mexican food advocate here in the Global Hack Week. Yeah, and per pizza to Yura and Shimari. But yeah, hackathons are my thing. I love communities. I love hackathon communities, and I was putting time. I work in it was a fellow in the MLH fellowship. If you don't know what MLH fellowship is, totally give it a try. Try to search it. Try to search that program. It is super good. I encourage you to totally give it a try. And yeah, so I was a fellow in the summer 2022 batch at Meta, and also I'm from part of a group of friends called ML Cats, which I really love. I do love. I'm currently building a taxi startup, research tools, and more. And pretty much that's it. Like that's me. So if you want to follow me in any social media, here are my links. Oh yeah, and the two characters that are in the background are called Pom Pomporin and Snoopy. So if you don't know them, they're super cool. They're like my alter egos. I really love them, and yeah, you're going to see them a lot of. You're going to see a lot of Snoopy and Pom Pomporins on the slides. But yeah, so here's on my social medias. If you want to follow me on GitHub, on X or on LinkedIn, just give it a try. You can follow me as like this on any of these social medias. And today we're going to be building an e-commerce API. So what we're going to use to build that is we're going to learn how to use MySQL, how to install it in a Linux machine. So because this is going to be really focused on using Linux. You can use Windows or whatever you want, but I'm going to use GitHub Code Spaces because I don't want to fight a lot with installation and dependencies and things like that. But we're going to use Node.js. We're going to need a GitHub account. We're going to need MySQL, and we're going to use TypeScript too. So if you don't want to bother about installing this stuff or having to fight with dependencies or installation things, don't worry about it. Like you can do whatever you want to do. You can use Windows, you can use Mac, whatever you want to use. But I'm going to use GitHub Code Spaces so I can evade doing that. But yeah, let's just continue with this. So what are we going to build today? We're going to create an e-commerce API with Express, and also we're going to learn how to install MySQL database and how to create an architecture of our API, how to create a structure of our database, and finally we are going to learn how to use Node.js and Express to do this. So yeah, basically the big I architecture of this is going to be using our client, and our client can make some requests to our API, this little cloud with Cobol here, and our API is going to be talking with our database, that is MySQL database, and we can talk parallelly, or like we can make responses and requests to this. And yeah, basically this is how it's going to look our API right here. But first, we need to learn the basics. If you were yesterday in my Firebase stream, uh, this first hour is going to be a little bit theoretical. So prerequisites. So if you need prerequisites, I think you should totally need Node.js, TypeScript, and that's all I think. But yeah, I'm going to send the links of the things that we're going to be using on Song today. But yeah, let's just continue. So yeah, what is an API? So an API is an application programming interface. It's a set of protocol tools that we're going to be using to communicate with each other and define method and data format that application that can request and exchange information. So as you can see here, we have like our client. That our client looks like uh is it still like going? Uh all one is good. Okay. Mm, what about this one? Is this one better or is this one louder or does this have like more noise? Let me know. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Is that better? Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. Alrighty. So yeah, so as you can see here, we have like a drawing of like super big. What are we doing? So we have our clients. Their clients can be cell phones, can be browsers, can be um, desktops or things like that. And our API can communicate with our database, and our API is going to have business logic. It's going to be the business logic that we are going to be applying into our API, and that API can receive requests and handle those requests and respond something to those clients that are trying to reach us. So yeah, APIs are commonly used to enable different software systems, services, or platforms to interact with each other in a standardized way, facilitating duration and interoperability. So, for example, when we are trying to listen music on Spotify, what Spotify does is that we have our cell phone, and our cell phone is going to try to make a request to an API or a server that is the nearest server near us, and that API is going to have like a copy of the server and the data of the music that we want to stream, and the API is going to be um, it's going to be responding the music we want to hear. But remember, music is a bunch of beats, and those beats can make some kind of sounds and things like that. So basically, we're going to be streaming constantly chunks of beats of our data that represent that music, and Spotify or our client is going to handle that data and it's going to do something with that data. But yeah, just give me a minute. Okay, so let's just continue. So types of APIs. There are several types of APIs. Each one is designed for specific purposes and contexts. And here's some common types. We have a sorry for that. I think the audio should be good now. All right. So yeah, types of APIs. There are several types of APIs, each one designed for specific purposes and contexts. So here's some common types of APIs that we use. We have web APIs, we have operating system APIs, library APIs, database APIs, etc., etc. So don't worry about this. Like today, we're just going to focus on building two things. The one is web APIs, and the other one is the database APIs that we're going to be using. So web APIs, also known as HTTP APIs, RESTful APIs, are type of APIs that enables communication and data exchange over the internet using standard web protocols such as HTTP or HTTPS. And there's a different type of web APIs, but the protocol is basically the way that we are transferring data. So, for example, HTTP or REST APIs usually try to transfer data by the protocol HTTP that usually REST APIs uses JSONs, but for example, some APIs are another type of APIs that uses as a protocol XMLs, and this XML, remember that are like kind of like HTML or things like that, and these XMLs can handle or are more secure or things like that. Basically, each one of these types of API have different purposes. So, for example, if you're building a real application or something like that, a REST API can be super good. But if you're handling data that is private or something like that, you can use SOAP APIs. SOAP APIs were created because of the security that we wanted to use, or the XMLs are super old, and on those days, the XMLs had a lot of things that we were not. I'm so sorry, mate. My throat is killing me. So sorry for that. But yeah, so APIs use XMLs as transfer data. Yeah, they're super, as ethical code says, they're super difficult to implement. I think if you have a lot of experience with SOAP APIs, you have a lot of ability to be it is a really profitable ability because a lot of old companies still use SOAP APIs. And if you have those abilities and you know a lot of handling XMLs and things like that, there are a lot of persons who are paying a lot for learning how to use this. And usually governments and all enterprises or information that is super secure, but that should be secure, are on XMLs and are on SOAPs. Actually, for example, the IRS in Mexico uses XMLs for kind of handling all the invoices of each one of the taxpayers here in Mexico. So you can see how much persons and how secure the data should be treated. Also, you have gRPC APIs, which uses the HTTP/SUIT protocol. gRPC are real common on buying transactions, or when you're buying, for example, when you're passing and transferring from an account to another money. Probably they're using gRPC APIs. So as you can see here, each type of web API has different purposes, and we use them for a lot of things. But today we're going to build a REST API, and the first thing that we need to know is HTTP. What is HTTP? So, which is HTTP is standard for hypertext format. Hypertext transfer protocol, that is an application protocol used for transmitting hypermedia documents such as HTML files or things like that on the whatever you want. Okay, we have a question here. Can we create REST API using Spring Boot? Yeah, you can use whatever you want. Actually, this is real good. If you want to follow me and use Node.js and TypeScript, just follow me. If you don't worry about it. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, we're just going to try to do this. You can try to use Python. You can try to use Spring Boot, Go, whatever you want to use. So don't worry about it. The only thing that we need to do is to have the same logic, like the same logic that we are going to be building. And mm, then when major stocks for the REST APIs is secured, not a priority for majority applications. No, there are a lot of implementations that handle security, but for building an API is not like when you're a company and you don't have enough time and you need to be raising money and show to someone that you have already a product, it is better to pay some other person to handle that security part, because handling security is super important, and also it takes a lot of time to build that stuff. Mm, but the problem is that it takes a lot of time, and that time you can be using it building the business logic of your application. So, for example, if Uber used it, if Uber used it like when it was starting, um, build it itself, like the whole security system and things like that, on a RESTful, on a XML API or simply that, they were going to take a lot of time, and they were not going to be building the logic of the business logic of Uber. They were going to be using something like I don't know. There were be Uber, but Uber came lately. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Usually, REST APIs uses third-party libraries that are built upon other things, or uh, startups or things like that pay other solutions that can handle the transfer security between one server to another or things like that. So they don't have to do it, and they can use that time for building the application instead of building security. But a lot of APIs uses HTTP. A lot of APIs uses gRPC for transferring. Like bank accounts uses a lot of banking uses a lot of gRPC because of transferring protocols and because the kind of data that they're handling, they're is built specifically for handling that kind of data. And but top of it, like REST APIs are secure. They can handling a lot of things, but for the type of data that you're going to be handling, remember that at the end of the day, we're handling bits and type of bits, type of data, integers, floats, longs, and things like that in a really minimal scale format. We're using kind of types of data we're using. But when we're talking about handling more important data that can affect other clients or depending the logic of your business, you can make the decision of using one or another. There's not one big solution. You can use whatever you want to use, and at the end of the day is up to you. You can build a RESTful API as secure as you want and be using only HTTP or HTTPS without having any problem. But you will need to implement a lot of time and a lot of solutions, um, a lot of time and a lot of solutions for handling those cases where the security of an API is super important. I'm so sorry for taking this long for explaining just one thing. Okay, late to party. What things I missed? You missed nothing. Like we are just starting talking about some concept. What is an API? What is HTTP? The types of API that exist and things like that. Why is it called REST? I think REST is because of the full name of RESTful API. The RESTful API is basically like the interface that two computer systems use to exchange information security. But to be honest, I don't know. I think REST may be like the interface, or no, actually it's because of the architecture. The architecture is the REST architecture that is of the API. Let me try to search it on Google uh, and try to pass you there, pass you on the chat right here. There you go. I think I actually passed you like. Oh no, yeah, I actually passed you the correct application, the correct architecture. But yeah, the REST architecture, there's this Wikipedia log that we can read. So let me share this that. So REST is a representational state transfer. Okay, so that means REST, representational state transfer. It's a software architectural style that was created to guide the design and development of the architecture for the World Wide Web. REST defines the set constraint for how the architecture of a distributed internet scale hypermedia system, such as the web, should behave. Alrighty, so there's the answer. So we can continue with this. Let me just 1 minute. Let me keep reading the comments. Mm, uh, I had Mexican food for the first time. Oh my god, yeah. So late, but David. Oh my god, you had Mexican food? Mexican food for the first time, and you recommend some awesome stuff like quesadilla and churros and tamales type, and I love it. Oh my god, do you like it? How good were they? Which kind of quesadilla do you have? Like fully cheese quesadilla, or do you have some other stuff inside that quesadilla? Um, okay, so let me see if there are other comments. Give credit to Spring Bed, but when the blah 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 blah, must blah 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 blah. Uh, yeah, I know, right? Like it's totally worth it. Like trying a quesadilla for the first time is super good. They have beans in the side. Oh my god. Corn in a quesadilla? Corn in a quesadilla? No, that man, mm-mm. That is not Mexican, man. That sounds like Tex-Mex, but it is not Mexican, man. Like a good quesadilla doesn't look like that. Let me show you a picture of a really Mexican quesadilla. Like a really good Mexican quesadilla looks like something like this. Like you can see quesadilla. Like this is corn tortilla or yeah, like corn tortilla um, quesadilla, but there are also quesadillas de harina. There are this kind of quesadillas, and these actually are like quesadillas. Like you can like these ones are really Mexican quesadillas with a lot of meat and cheese and all this stuff that is super good. But also there are a lot of things like these ones. Oh my god, these ones are like the best kind of quesadillas. They look like tacos, but they're actual quesadillas. Like this is a really good quesadilla, but I don't know if a quesadilla is like what how they look in Taco Bell. This is not a quesadilla. This looks like a pyramid of like a kind of quesadilla, but quesadillas are like basically tacos, but they have cheese and stuff there. But for example, this is not a quesadilla. This is actually a sincronizada. Like this is the thing that is a sincronizada, and the difference is that there's one tortilla on the top. There's like the things that are in the middle, and there's one other tortilla on the bottom. And usually they are from harina instead of being from corn. But yeah, but that picture that had the corn wasn't the quesadilla. But yeah, right. But yeah, let's just continue with this because if not, I'm going to be starting a territorial fight between quesadillas. Um, okay, so let's just continue with this. DMG address while we first say how to quesadilla, Mexican food. Mm-hmm. On the trip for right now, choosing corn, I think quesadilla. Elote, it was Taco Bell. If I look, no, but not great. Just look exactly. Maybe they imagine the corn. Here in India, we call the butter naan. Well, oh my god, butter naan is super good. It's super super good. I love naan. My crap. But you found much is in India. Street vendors sell them the most. Oh, you're in like for real? Oh my god, that sounds so good. But yeah, let's just continue with this because if not, we're not going to have enough time to work on that. But yeah, let's just continue with our client server model. So HTTP follows the client server model where clients, especially for browsers and mobile apps, can send requests to servers and servers respond with this requested resource or perform the requested actions. So we have a lot of types of requests, and this type of requests are the main way in which an API or a client can communicate with our server and tell the server what kind of action the client wants to do with the data or with the route that we have on our server. So the first one is the get one. It is the easier one. The get method is used to retrieve data from the server, and when a client sends get request to a server, it requests the server to send back a representation of specified source. So we have a get request that should only retrieve data and should not have any other effect on the server. So for example, if we had like, I don't know, an invincible API, the invincible series. So if we use the get method to, for example, retrieve data from the hero invincible, we are going to have the information and retrieve information about that specific hero, and it's going to give us information about its name, its alias, which powers invincible has, and which affiliation invincible is in. The second type of request that we have is the POS one. So the POS method is used to submit data to a server to be processed. And when a client sends a POS request to a server, it includes data in the request body, which the server can process according to the functionality. And the POS requests are commonly used for submitting form data, uploading files, or creating new resources on the server. And here's an example. What happened if I want to add a new mission that Invincible fighted yesterday, Omni-Man and Invincible win. So when I made a request with a body or a JSON that has the following information: Billion, Omni-Man, location, Metro City, outcome success, notes Omni-Man was subdued after a long time and in test battle. If I do that and I have all the permissions to create or to upload a new defeat villain that happened on a mission. Um, if everything goes well, it's going to respond me with a 200. We're going to look into what does that happen means in, or those numbers mean in a minute. The third type of request that exists is put. Put method is used to update or replace an existing resource on the server within the data provided and in the request body. And when a client sends a put request to a server, it specifies the URI of the resource to be updated and included new data in the request body. Sub-put requests are idempotent, meaning that making the same put request multiple times will have the same effect and making it once. So, for example, if I want to update data about Invincible. Maybe Invincible fight in a real big fight and Invincible is injured currently. So I want to update their status. The status of Invincible is going to be injured, and the location is going to be updated to be on Guardian HQ Medical Wing. And the server is going to respond to us with a 204 no content. We're going to see what that means in a minute. But yeah, as you can see, we're just modifying data that already existed. And the final one is delete. And as the word says, delete deletes data or resources from the server in more or less words. In the example, we want to delete the information about Omniman. And for example, if we access and we find that the route billions/Omniman exists, there's going to be no problem. And the server is going to respond to us with a 204 no content. So if you're asking, what the hell does it mean, the 204, 200, 44, or things like that, whenever I go to a new page and I see a 404, for example, I don't know, something like so for example, if I access to Amazon and I want to access to a route that doesn't exist, for example, MLH, there Amazon has a really cool way to say, hey, I couldn't find that specific page that you want to reach, but try searching or go to Amazon's homepage, please. And a cool thing that Amazon does is that whenever you want to access to a content that doesn't exist, it shows you a picture of dogs, of random dogs, and they're super good. They're super good boys, and you can see them how they are there and how they are just chilling around. And yeah, so let's just talk about HTTP, that uh, the responses. What do they mean? There are two pages that I wanted to show you. Yesterday, I just had the idea that HTTP cats exist, but they actually are two pages that are super cool. The first one is HTTP cat, where you can see what does this mean. What does it mean? Each one of these numbers: 200, 201, 202, 204, and things like that. You can do the same thing with dogs. Like if you are a dog person or you're a cat person, you have like the information of each one of these things. You can see, for example, this really good boy that is right there. And you have like the link of the image, the link to the page, and the JSON response. And HTTP cats for me is cooler because it has a lot of memes. So for example, I really love this cat that is bot request cat. For example, he's doing the finger thing, but he's a cat. Like, oh my god, he's the best. Like, he's a really good cat. And the cool thing about HTTP.cat is that it provides you the description of the error and which source does the page use for has information about that, right? And as you can see here, there are a lot of memes, and you can see how they use this, which kind of providers uses this kind of responses. So So yeah, these are really cool pages. I'll totally encourage you to use them for trying to understand what this each response means. I'm going to send on the chat the link so you can uh, search each one of those. So yeah, this is a really cool resource that you can use. It's super good. 502 is a really common message they usually get, bad getaway, and it means bad getaway server error response code indicates that the server, while acting as a getaway or proxy, received an invalid response from the upstream server. So you have a lot of explanations here. So for example, a real common one is 404 not found. And for found not found response, the status code indicates that the server cannot find the requested resource. And as we saw on Amazon, if I want to access to amazon.com/mlh or slash hackers, instead of giving us like a server like 404, it just shows us, sorry, we couldn't find that page. Try searching or go to Amazon homepage. But like the page is telling us we couldn't find that page. That means the same thing as not found. The resource you wanted to access was not found. And as you can see here, this kitty is just hiding, and I'm not seeing anything because there's no kitty here. Like, where's the kitty? I don't see anything. But yeah, other one that we saw was 202 in the 200. 200, okay, is that everything is good. The status response of the code indicates that the request has succeeded, and you can catch this, but you don't need to do anything. Like if you make a get and everything is correct, you don't need to worry about anything. And for example, when we use the delete method or the put method, we're going to receive a 204, and if it is successful, it is going to return us a 204, and it means that it was successful or the request has succeeded, but the client doesn't need to do anything or to navigate away from the current page to do something, right? Like other messages. And yeah, we can just continue with this. Um, Let me go again to my slides and let me share this tab. We're almost finished. I know that that is a lot. Oh, actually, give me a minute my because my computer is dying. Give me 1 minute. There you go. Now you should be able to see me again. Let me try to read the comments that you had. Think Mark. Okay. From where can I get this PPT? I think I can send you the PPT right now. I think. Share prototype, and anyone with this link can view. And I think you can see all the slides right here. It is a real long link, so sorry for that. But yeah, that is that is the prototype, and you can access to that. So yeah, basically we're going to be working on that. And okay, so we have already learned about HTTP, we have to learn about APIs, but we still need to learn about databases. So what is a database? A database is a structured collection of data organized in a way that allows for efficient storage, retrieval, and manipulation of information. It is essentially an organized system for storing and managing data that it can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. Databases are commonly used in various applications and industries. So typically, these databases consist of just routes or basically JSONs or things like that. There are a lot of types of databases. We're going to see them in a minute. But yeah, typically they just consist in one or more tables, each one containing routes and columns for indicating fields and in kind of the form of structure that our data is going to be using. So each row represents a single record or entry, while each column represents a specific attribute or field of data. So for example, if I'm a person and I want to store my um, my name, my age, my height, and things like that, I can be storing in different columns those attributes for each person, and I can be collecting that data from each one of the hackers or things that if I'm creating a hackers database, for example. Uh, yeah, we're going to learn some kind of ER because we're going to use SQL in this example or in this stream. And yeah, there are, as I said, there are a lot of databases and they are organized by their structure or by how they work. So the one that we're going to use today is the relational one that basically uses a structure of tables and relations. The non-relationals, well, an example of a relational database can be PostgreSQL, MySQL, Microsoft Server SQL, and things like that. But there are a lot of other types like non-relational. These non-relational have a no SQL structure. The structure of those ones are like JSONs, in like mostly they are JSONs, and they store like the same kind of attributes and whatever you want, but they use like dictionaries or JSONs and however you want to see them to store that kind of data. And what makes this cool is that no relational is easier to escalate horizontally, and this means that if we have like a multiplayer game or something like that, we can store and escalate to another server the same time of data. Like if I have more traffic on my game or on my multiplayer game, if a lot of persons are being connected from different parts of the world, it is easier um, to follow that data um, and to represent it in another part of the world, and it is faster. So a lot of no relational databases like MongoDB, like Firebase, like Elastic can be used for a lot of stuff. In big data, there are a lot of solutions that uses JSONs and NoSQL databases, and these are used for example, for League of Legends, for Dota 2, and things like that. They use this kind of data for passing data in a record time. The other one that we have is graph databases like GraphQL type of APIs, like graph databases and things like that. They have graph rules, and in there they are mainly built of or consist of having nodes, and each node has properties, and each node can have also like relations with other nodes. That each relation can be a relational node. Like I don't know, a hacker has and it has this like an arrow, and that arrow means is pointing to another node, and that node says something like computer or like a laptop or like a cell phone or something like that. And finally, we have vectors. Vectorial databases are super used in LLM solutions and AI and NLP. So they are super cool. They are trending a lot right now, like Wave8, like PyVector, and things like that. So if you want to learn more about vectorial databases and how they work, I'll totally encourage you to take a look. There are a lot of concepts that you should totally know for knowing that, like knowing how a word is tokenized and how it's stored in vectors, and how many dimensions can this vector have. There are a lot of stuff. They're super cool. I'll totally encourage you to take a look into vectorial databases so you can know how to use them on your next API or your next project, and you can show everyone how you're building this kind of vectors. They're super, super cool. But today we're just going to focus on the relational databases. And relational databases are a type of databases that organize data in tables and columns, like we have seen now, which consists of rows and columns. And data is organized into tables, also known as relations, and each table consists of rows and columns, and each column represents a specific attribute like we saw before. In relational databases use keys to establish relationships between tables. A primary key is uniquely identifies each record in a table, where a foreign key establishes relationships between tables by referencing to a primary key of another table. So yeah, I know there's a lot of information. This can be like a lot, But don't worry about it. We're going to work with how we are implementing things. So, for example, we have a table that is a table from agents, and each agent has a lot of information that we want to know, and it has some fields. Those fields are represented as columns, and each column represents a specific information for for a route that we're going to use. So, for example, we have each record, and each record or a route, however you want to see it, has all these columns, and all these columns represent only one person, so for or well one agent, and this agent has a code of or agent code of A007, and the name is Ramasundar, and the working area is in Bangalore, and the commission that the agent gets is 0.15, and the phone number is that phone number. So, for example, if we want to access the information about Anderson, we have different information for Anderson. We know that Anderson is in Brisbane, but as you're seeing here, each individual has its own information, and each attribute or each information that we want to know about that person is separated in columns, or is stored in different columns for representing different types of data. And finally, each column has a value, and as we can see here, for identifying someone, a person, or something like that, for example, when you are in school or when you are on the university or something like that, you have like a college number, or maybe you have like a college ID. In this example, each one of the agent has a code, like an agent code. And for example, Raman Sudar is 8007, but for example, Alex is 8003. So having IDs, or having this kind of fields that represents in numbers or in strings, how we can see these information is super essential, and is the way that we can identify in other places um, how to have access to all the data of one person, but by just using one string. So, for example, if I was creating another kind of table, for example, I don't know, agent values or agent attributions, where I wanted to store the agent ID and the agent ID, and how many points has that agent created in the whole year. I can use the agent ID for identifying that the information that I'm going to store in that table is going to be the one from that agent. So, okay, I know that that is a lot, but we're almost finished. We're just going to talk a little bit about MySQL, and after that, we're going to start coding. We're not going to talk anything about theory. But yeah, MySQL is a popular open source relational database management system. Or, for example, if you're using Azure, or you're using AWS or DigitalOcean or things like that, you're going to see that there are these words that are called RDBMS or RDB or things like that. RDBs, RDBS, RDBMM. There are a lot of types to interact with this word. But yeah, a lot of clouds have this important word, and the only thing that you need to know is that that means relational database management system, or relational databases. So that is why these relational databases were like the first one that were created, and it's widely used for web development, particularly in conjunction with PHP. And it was originally developed by MySQL AB, which later was acquired by Sun Microsystem, now part of Oracle. And MySQL is known for reliability, easy of use, and a strong community support. And yeah, I know it's a lot. It is a lot of theory. We're not doing anything. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm almost sleeping, and yeah, this is boring. I know, I know. There's a lot of theory. But fortunately, like, we have finished this hour in time, and we're going to start coding now. So don't worry about it. We're going to be coding in just a few minutes. We're going to start doing a lot of things. Don't worry about this. But yeah, we're going to learn in the next hour how to use code spaces, how to use Express, how to create routes in Express, and how to start working with JavaScript and things like that. So we have reached the hour. I've talked a lot. There's a lot of questions and there are a lot of comments. So let me first try to solve that. And After that, what do you think we take just a 5 minutes break, and after that we come back and start coding our application. Oh, please get involved, please blah, blah, blah. Our graph line decrease. Yeah, kind of. To be honest, I don't know, but I know that the graph ones are basically graph database are like this. They're like graph basically. Like yeah, as the word says, like you can imagine to see a graph right here, like this one. For example, this is a graph DB. As I said, they work as words. So, for example, user likes stadiums, stadiums is cities, cities. Users like cities, and user like teams, and teams have home stadium of a stadium. And yeah, they're kind of weird for me. To be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with them, but yeah, they're like that. RTP, our vector to be is new, considering seasonal and LP Supergluia. Now, I think they are not that new. They have like 10 years of being alive and things like that. But they're super cool. I totally encourage you to try to learn how to use a vectorial DB. You can build awesome things with that. And do we need to install something? Yes, we do. I'll totally encourage you to create a GitHub account if you don't have a GitHub account. And yeah, they're multidimensional vectors due to the operations. And we're talking about when we're talking about dimensions. So when we're talking about dimensions, for example, imagine this pencil. This pencil has just 2 dimensions, right? Well, it is a 3D pencil, right? But imagine that we have something like this. This pencil here just have like this y axis, and now with this it is y and x axis, but with each word that you're going to be using or which each parameter that you're going to be building, as you can see here, it gets more complex, and it is super cool. It is super complex. I will totally encourage you to give it a try. I cannot explain it with a few words. It totally should be like another stream. If there is, let me see which is it next week. The next one is the next one is data. So we can only work with vectorial databases the next hack week. So that is going to be one of my topics. So just hope to learn about that. Okay, integer relation model. I'm super confident. Yeah, we're going to go now, and just give me 5 minutes. So we are going to take a 5 minutes break, so we can drink water and things like that. So yeah, let's just go ahead. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Come back. You should be seeing me. I think. Yeah, I think now you're seeing me. So hi everyone. Let me just grab my headphones. Oh yeah, the music. Let me just stop the music. There we go. No music. So alrighty, let me try to see if there are some comments. Mm, yeah, totally support Param's comment. You are one of my guys. Like, totally, you know what you're talking, man. Like, you know what you're talking, man. Like if it was for me, all this stream, the only thing that I've been talking about is like Mexican food. Like, if you are near California or like near the south of the US, and you should totally try to search for asada tacos or for tacos asada or like Tijuana style tacos. They are super, super good. They're like they're one of the best tacos in all Mexico. And this one here is like I'm obsessed with this kind of food. This is called a pastor tacos. There are different kind of tacos, but these things that looks like kebabs, like I mean, like they really look like kebabs, right? Like when you go to a kebab restaurant, looks kind of similar. I think that the original, I think we got inspiration from the Medium Orient and give uh, the original founder of this kind of tacos is an Arabic person or something like that that came to Mexico and started creating tacos from that kind of beef that actually I think is kind of like I think it's pork and we put in this kind of beef pineapple, cilantro, onions, lemon, a lot of salsa. They are super, super good. I think one of the most popular taquerias here in Mexico City are it's called Orinoco. Orinoco tacos is one of the classic one that you can use. They're not that great for me. There are a lot of better taquerias that are cheaper and that 10 times better. But totally, like if you come here to Mexico City to try to give it a try, they even have a collaboration with Adidas, like a taqueria having a collaboration of shoes with Adidas is like a cool thing for me. But yeah, enough Mexican food. Okay, enough. This is more than enough. Like, let me just try to see the comments. Good thing ahead. Fajitas, yeah, fajitas are really good. They are super, super good. Complete the list. Give me a list to hunt down. You're making me want. Yeah, like a torta de huevo is oof, best one. Yeah, looks yeah, that totally looks like a shawarma. Like shawarmas are super delicious. Like one of the even there are a thing called Arab tacos. Uh, they're called tacos árabes. They look a lot like shawarmas. They are super tasty. They are super super good. I can eat like four or three of these in one sit. They are awesome. I think they are uh which kind of animal? Yeah, they are murum. They are murum beef. So they're super good. Uh think it's Muran or sheep. I don't remember, but these ones are super super good. They look like shawarmas, and the other ones, oh my god! Like, okay, I need to stop. I need to stop because it's a lot of food and no coding. Okay. uh, oh my god, you had chapulines. Chapulines are super cool. Okay, you want vegan options? There are a lot of vegan options here. Um, Let me try to search. Like all these things are vegan tacos, and they're okay. This one is not a taco. If you ever see this tortilla, like this, like a hard tortilla, that is not a taco. There's like a Tex-Mex taco. That is not an original Mexican taco. Like This one and this other are not tacos. And I don't even know what this is, but this also look like a vegan taco. Okay, this one looks really good. I think that we have here at a called with la coche. With la coche tacos are like mushrooms, but there are a specific kind of mushrooms that grow from the corn. So if I see search with la coche, yeah, they are like here. They're like a kind of fungus that grows inside a, a corn, and but they're eatable. They're eatable, and they are super tasty. They are super cool. There are even Japanese recipes that use with like kocho for sushi or for kimchi and things like that. It's a super good combination, and tell us give it a try. It is one of the best vegans combinations. Or the hongos. This is a mushroom quesadilla. Mushroom quesadillas are super, super good. They're one of the best ones. I don't know why this one has a corn, but I totally think this is a really good combination. But yeah, okay, yeah. Now I need to stop. I need to stop now because we need to work, and let's stop just going here. Okay, so let's go by first going to our GitHub. If you don't have a GitHub account, please create one. This is my profile if you want to follow me. My name is David Lázaro Fernandez. In GitHub, I will show you here in the stream right here. You can follow me. So yeah, let's just go here and create a new repository. I'm going to create a new repository. Please don't create new one because we're going to use the same repo. So let me just do something like contact with APIs, e-commerce. I'm going to be the owner and description, creating an awesome e-commerce with hackers. It's going to be public. We're going to have a README. I'm going to create with this repository. And let me share with you the link of this repo so you can use it. And yeah, you can fork this repo. Yeah, you can fork it out, and you can be pulling all the changes that we are going to do. We're going to use. Okay. No. Forking this one is more than enough because we're going to be using this one or cloning. And what you need to do is just go here into code spaces, create a code space on main. If you want to use your local computer, I don't have any problems with it, but I'm telling you, we're going to use data, but we're going to be installing a lot of the stuff. And if you have any kind of problems while for installing this stuff, I'm not going to be able to help you. You're going to search solutions for yourself. But if you follow me in this code space and we have problems, we can find the same problems that we have and the same solutions for the same problems, that we can be on the same route. But yeah, basically you just need to click on this green button that says create a code space, and a code space is going to be created. A code space is basically Visual Studio Code, but in your computer. And the cool thing about code spaces is that a lot of things are already installed. Like for example, JavaScript, Python, TypeScript is already installed. A lot of packages like npm or package managers are already installed. So we're going to be using this, for instance. Alrighty. So the first thing that we're going to be learning is how to use Node.js for creating some things. And if you never used Node.js before, don't worry about it. It is super easy to use. And yeah, let's just try to first install Express. And Express is a library that is the library that we're going to be using for creating our web server. So basically, Express is a fast and open framework that we are going to be using. So the only thing that we need to go is get started with Node.js, with Express.js. I'm going to pass you the link of Express here, and we're going to do the npm init, and then we're going to install Express. All right. So let's just do that. And let me go here into my code space that I had right here. Let me open a new file called index.ts. And let's just do something like npm install Express. Oh my God. Express. And npm is going to be installing itself. And the only thing that I did was typing the command, open a new terminal, and on the terminal I type npm install express with double S. And as you can see here, we have a lot of stuff that is installing itself. Like for example, we have package logs, package.json, node models that we don't want to worry about. So what we're going to do is create a git ignore file where we're going to ignore all the models or all the files that exist inside the folder of node models. And why we want to do that is because there are models that we don't want in our repo. So what are we going to do is just ignore them. So whenever we make a new contribution to our repo, we can have all the stuff. So I'm going to commit my changes with like init. I'm going to push it to the repo. So now you should be able to pull the changes into your code space. So remember, just do git pull from origin main or something like that. And if not, you can just use the Visual Studio Code tool and just do pull here. And while pulling, everything is going to be ready to go. You're going to be pulling the changes, and you're going to be seeing our initial project. So, okay, how can we initiate a Express.js application with TypeScript? Is the correct answer. Server with TypeScript. Let me just server that. Okay, so let me show you here how to create our package.json. We already have created our package.json or initiating this, so don't worry about it. We already have like the things that we need. So the only thing that we're going to do here is to currently we have only Express.js, but we want to use TypeScript. So what we want to do is to launch the terminal and try to use this server with TypeScript. So what we want to do is just copy this. I'm going to show you this link right here. And oh my God, thank you so much for let me share with you the link of the event so you can use it. And let me share it with you right here. Oh my God, you win. Yeah, you can use whatever of whichever of those links you want to use. But yeah, totally. Like just use the npm id. All right. What is okay, yeah. Let me continue with this. So, okay, on Express.js, the thing that we want to do is to just copy and paste this. So I remember I'm on the Express page and I'm just going with getting started. Hello world. We're going to copy this and we're going to paste it right here. And let me share my tab. So as you can see here, I have my my TypeScript stuff going on, and TypeScript is going it's going nuts. But what we want to do here is first install TypeScript so I don't have these problems. So from the Rocket blog, I'm going to install TypeScript. And now what I want to do is, as you can see here, I don't have any kind of error now. I don't have any error because now that I have TypeScript installed, TypeScript knows what I'm doing. So, okay, we have our first server created. So how we can run this, if I'm not wrong, is just doing something like, I think it was npm something, or like, this is the package log. index.ts. For running this, I think let's just try to see oh yeah, we need to generate a tsconfig.json, and every TypeScript project utilizes this configuration file to manage project settings. So what we need to do is just to copy this, going again to our code spaces and create our tsconfig file. So our tsconfig file JSON is already created. Let's go back again to the block. So once we execute this command, TypeScript is going to give us our detail, so we didn't have any problem. So now what we want to do is just to create our server express with a TS extension. So as we can see here on our project, we have const express required express, const express, or things like that, but we're not specifying which type of data we're using. We're using all import types or all forms of importing. To be honest, I don't remember how this type of import is called. I think it's required.js or something like that. I don't remember. But ECMAScript added a new type of imports that we can use um, for kind of expressing how we can import new stuff here. And that one is with the keyword import. We're going to be using Express, and we're going to be importing a lot of stuff from Express, and we're also going to be using, well, this time we're not going to be using .NET, but as you can see here, now we have a lot of stuff. So what we want to do with this, we want to explain TypeScript, which kind of things or kind of which type of objects we're going to be using in each one of these constants. So what the first one app, we know that it is an Express app, but we're not specifying which type of type does this Express um, object has. So we're going to use express, and we're going to indicate, hey, my constant app is a type, it has a type of express, and it's going to be equal as express initiate function. And also we're going to be putting right here the port that we have. So this is a number, so we don't need to specify anything about this. But what we need to specify right now is what does rig and rest means. So rig, it means request, and rest means response. And we're going to do the same stuff for no, I think this is correct. Actually, I think this is more than enough. So basically what we are saying with all the stuff, uh, let me just check the chat if there's no problem. uh, Okay, when can I access recorded video and where it's uploaded? It is uploaded at mlh.tv. You can access to https dot slash mlh.tv. And if you log there, you're going to be redirected to the Twitch channel of the MLH. And right there, you can see how you can access to the video section, and in the video section, each one of the streams that we had are recorded and are stored right there, so you can see each one of the streams that you want. Thank you so much, Shimmery, for always helping. Thanks so much, thanks so much, and thanks so much. Okay, so let's just continue with this. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that is going on here. So what the hell are we doing, David? Okay, don't worry about it. This is super easy. The only thing that we're doing right here is like in Python we can import models, or we can import constants or functions or things like that from different models or packages that we're using. So for example, we're using, I don't know, from Pillow, import, from Peel, import image or something like that. We were using Python. JavaScript has something like that, and it's kind of similar, but we're doing it like reversal. Like we're importing the constants and the models and the things that we want, the objects or things like that, from the model express. And our models, remember, that are stored on node models. The second thing that we're doing is that we're initiating a constant called app. The constant app is an object of type express, and it's going to be it's going to be a model called express, and this express model is going to initiate a new express server or a new app. And the only thing that we're going to do is that we're going to have a port right here, and we have this constant app has different functions. If I do app that, you can see that I have hundreds and hundreds of functions that I have right here. But the one that we want to use is get. Remember the HTTP methods that we were seeing before? App.get basically is saying, hey, app, on your root path, the path slash or the root path, you're going to have a function, or you're going to allow a get function or get request type. And if someone sends a get request type to the root of the application, we're going to receive two arguments, a request and a response. We're going to respond with something, and we're going to do something with that response. Wants, if someone makes a request to this exact path, I'm going to make use of this response, and I'm going to send to my client the response of hello world. But instead of using hello world, I'm going to say something like message hello world. And yeah, I think there you go. Going to send a JSON with a response called message hello world. And the app is going to be starting to listen to all the calls in the port app. So remember, we're using a server, and servers can have different ports. Or my a computer have different ports where I can send requests to. So I'm going to open a port on my port 3000, and I'm going to start listening to petitions. So you can ask me something, or you can access to my resources of my API, but I'm going to start listening to all the requests for resources of the app on the port 3000. So now the question is, David, how we run this? It is kind of easy. The only thing that we need to use is go here, go into our terminal, copy this npx ts node source index.ts, and instead of using source, we're going to use something like this. npx is basically a node package executor, so we are going to execute ts node. Ts node basically is node. If we were using JavaScript, we were just going to use something like node index.ts, but because we're using TypeScript, we're going to use ts that slot, that node uh, backspace index.ts. So let's try to see if this works. Yes, I want to solve ts node. So ts node is like the executioner of ts of TypeScript models. So let's just, okay, so as you can see here, I have a port menu, and I'm seeing that my application has opened a port on 3000 on my, or is listening on 3000. And if I open here, I go to my code space and I open this, I'm going to see here that I have a message that says hello world. And ta-da, we have opened our first thing that we need to do in our application, that is creating this hello world in our TypeScript application. So now that we have, and let me know if you have problems with this. If not, I'm going to pass you again. I'm going to push my changes to the repo so you can pull them. And remember, whenever you pull some new changes, it is a good practice just to do npm I. And npm I is going to install all the dependencies that are on package.json, so you don't have any other problem whenever you want to run anything. So for example, when you run npm I, you're going to install ts node, you're going to install express, you're going to install TypeScript and things like that. So how I send a request to the server? Yeah, let me just run again the server. For running the server, you need to do npx ts node index ts. Let me copy and paste this and paste it right here in the chat. You need to run this, It is going to be starting listening on port 3000, and Code Spaces is going to open a here like a pop-up message that the application is executing on port 3000 and it's available. So you click on the green button that says open in browser, is going to open a new request on the URL of 3000. And as you can see here, because we have whenever we access to the root to set that the server, we have a route that basically says, hey, whenever I receive petitions to my root path, send a message to that person or to that IP or to that client, send a JSON that says hello world. And we have to do that. We have done that. So until now, we are ready to go. We're good. Again, let me know if you have any questions. But if not, the thing that we're going to see today is architecture. What are architectures? What are a lot of things that we're going to be using? And as you can see here, okay, the folder structure that we have for our project is good, but the problem is whenever I'm going to be adding more stuff to my whenever I add new stuff to my application, I'm going to be like this is going to be a mess. I'm going to have a lot of things. So I think that is a really good practice to use in an API is to have the following folders. The first one is called controllers. The second one is models. The third one is route. The fourth one is called middlewares. And the fifth one is services. Oh yeah, and don't forget DB. I know this is a lot of stuff. What are we seeing here, David? There's a lot of stuff going on here. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk all these problems without any kind of problem. So yeah, let's just jump ahead. So the first one is controllers. Okay, what does controls mean? So the first, okay, what do you think if instead of going into controllers, first we go into routes? And let me search for an example of Amazon DB. Uh, I have a really good example of how Amazon DB relation example. I think I have a really cool example right here, but I don't remember what I put that. Product, portal product, shipment, customer payment. Okay, I think this is a good one. Okay, remember that on the start of the stream, we talk about entity relationship between our databases. So this is something that is going to look something like the things that we're going to be storing in our database from Amazon. Node one not working in code spaces. Which problem do you have with Node1? Okay, until now, I have not installed Node1, but don't worry about it. So I think Node1 actually is working, but which command are you using for running Node1? Can you re-explain how you are sending the request? Yeah, I can do that. But first, let me just try to explain this. Is that okay? Alrighty. So yeah, so for example, as you can see here, we have a lot of entities, we have a lot of tables that we're going to be using. So for example, we have customers, we have products, we have order items, we have orders, we have payment information, we have categories, cards, shipment. As you can see here, there's a lot of stuff going on, like a lot of stuff going on, and we have to make a lot of business intelligence to this to try to give the logics and try to use that logic and try to bring it to code. So the first thing that we are going to see today is, well, now, because today we have learned a lot of things, but yeah, is something called embassy. The embassy model is like the model controller view. This is something that we are using sometimes. Um, this time we're not going to have a controller inside our server. We're just going to use the model on controller. So as you can see here, it is an entity that we have right here. And for example, we have models, view controller, the architecture, and each one of them has an each own purpose for each one of the things that we're going to be using. So the model basically defines the data structure that we're going to be using of the data that we're going to be storing in our database. So for example, we have our image right here um, of our database. You can see here, for example, customer. Customer has a customer ID, has a first name, has a last name, has an email, password, address, phone number. And we can see that we're using integers, we're using strings, and we're using a lot of stuff that we are going to be dealing with. So for example, payment. Payment uses datetime, uses bar, uses strings, uses floats, uses integers. So we need to have to try to handle how to build these models and how we can handle these models that our API kind of have the tools for the API to work. And whenever we are trying to access to, I don't know, to a field that it is an integer, we don't have access, or we don't try to put characters on a field that is actually an integer. So this is why it's so important to use this kind of models. And yeah, we also have controllers, and controllers do manipulate models, but basically controls all the logic that we're going to be using for each one of the things that we're going to be uses in um, inside our controller, inside our inside the models or the data that we're going to be manipulating. But yeah, now let me go ahead and try to re-explain again. The only thing that I'm using is npx tsnode index.ts, and that's all. That basically Codespaces is going to open a new port on. It's going to start listening on the port 3000, and if you access from your browser, just accessing to the link. When you access to that browser, it's going to send you a response of message, like message is equal to hello world, and that's the only thing that you need to do. You need to access to to the port 3000 in your local host. If you're using Windows and you're running this locally, just access to localhost 3000, and you should be seeing something like localhost 3000 is going to be showing you the same message. But because I'm using code spaces, I only go to the ports window, and inside of it, I'm accessing to this direction that I have right here to follow the link, and it's going to open the link that I've told you. I think I stopped sharing my screen. Uh, there you go. Yeah, Django uses the same analogy of MVC. Uh, it uses the same analogy, but today, instead of when we're building APIs in JavaScript, it is not so common that we use the view part of the architecture, because we have the front end, and front end actually handles or beats in some kind of way the or facilitates or brings those tools to try to solve the problems that usually the view control model keeps to us. And also sometimes, like, a lot of frameworks from the front end are rendered on the client side, so we don't you need to use our server to try to render all the pages that the client is going to be using. So okay, let's just try to continue with this. So as we can see here, from now we have learned what are controllers and what are models, right? So the first thing that I want to do is to create a new model right here. That's going to be the client.ts model. So clients are going to have a new interface. It's going to be interface client, And client is going to have a lot of information, right? For example, ID, name, email, phone address, city, blah, blah, blah. Okay, thanks so much, Codebase. Um, yeah, I don't want this information. I don't want this one either. I just want ID, email, and phone. And okay. And also, because we're working with models, we can export and import things inside. And again, interfaces are just a way that TypeScript can use for trying to explain, okay, you're going to start a new object, and this object is going to have something, is going to use an interface. I'm sorry, you're going to set a new object. This object is going to have this kind of attributes, and this attribute is going to have this type of data. This attribute is going to have this type of data and this type of data. And we use interfaces because whenever we want to create a new control class, like client controller that yes, if I do something like a new class called client like client controller class client controller, I can start typing things right here, right? uh Let me just, for now, the first thing that we need to do is, okay, don't worry about this. We're not going to start yet. I just wanted to see what Copilot was saying. But yeah, let me import first how is it called? Let me import the client model, client from models.client and extends client. Implements, yeah. Okay, so what is going on here? Yeah. Okay, let me quit this and let's go. Okay, so Copilot had helped us a lot to try to make this quicker. So, okay, the only thing that we're doing in our controller right here in the client controller is going to implement the logic of all the things that we're going to handle with the data of our clients. So because we have made already a model, our client control is going to implement the interface that we created called client. And we are going to start this new class with a constructor. The constructor basically indicates which kind of data is going to receive or is going to initiate this object and which type of data is going to receive again. So for example, we're going to have a public ID, a public name, a public email, public phone, and all this information is going to be public and is going to be have a string, to have an ID that is of type number, a name of type string, email of type string, and phone of type string. All right. So after declaring which arguments we are expecting to receive, we're going to initialize our variables, our inside variables that we're going to be using inside our controller called ID, name, email, and phone. And they're going to be equal to these arguments that we have right here. If you don't understand this, don't worry about it. Another way that you can see it is you can put ID arc or something like that. Imagine that instead of calling this ID, is going to be called public ID argument is called number. And here, this ID means this ID equals to ID arg. And David, why are we doing this? We're doing this because we need to have constants of variables that we can use or access internally whenever we want to make private information to now being accessible from other controllers or from other classes. So, for example, if I have a I don't know, class like card or password is going to be a string. But what happens is, okay, you have a private password string, but you're not going to be able to access from other methods this private password. So don't worry about it. For not complicating this stuff, we're just going to be using pooling stuff. But the only thing that you need to know now is that our controller of client is going to be having this stuff. Is going to be having a variable called ID, email, phone, and they're going to be equal to these. All right. So how do we start doing stuff with this? How can we handle stuff? So okay, controllers or classes can have methods and variables in constructor. So the first method that we're going to be creating is a sync function, create client. It's going to receive a promise and we're going to return a client. So we need to talk about a sync await. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Don't worry about it. We have only 5 minutes left. Oh my God, the time is yeah, I need to update this. Let me update it right now. Sorry for that, Brown. And client controller. Hmm. Uh, for example, let's just create a function like function create client, like get client information. Get client is going to receive a client. Function. Oh yeah. Also, so we are going to have a function called get client. This function is going to return the client information. Um, but I think this is going to be easier to understand if we um, this is going to be easier to understand if we think about it like databases. So for example, if we were using something like MySQL, let's imagine that we have currently an import function called MySQL from MySQL. Let's suppose that we have something like this. Until now, we don't have it, right? But we can do something like from MySQL, MySQL that databases that query or something like DB is going to be if const DB is going to be a database is equal to MySQL that create connection to my database called host localhost user root and my password is password. Okay, so we have a db.connect and also we're going to do a query and okay, let me just show you this. Okay, this is comment. I know that I'm making a mess with information. What I want to try to say is that now that we have information about how to connect to our DB, this is just example. This is how Node is supposed to do this. That the connection should be actually on the folder of DB. But for now, this is just for explaining. Imagine that this is on the model DB, right? So this should be on the DB model. So now that we're talking about DB model, we already imported the DB model, and we're doing that. We're doing something like, hey, from the DB model, what I want to do is I want to fetch. I want to have a constant that helps me to fetch a client from the database. And how can I handle this? I can handle this by doing something like DB that query that selects something like this and to return something and false this and this. Okay, so what I mean is, hey, from the DB model, please bring me this constant that handles the connection to the database. And on my function in my controller, do all the logic that you need to do, clear data, filter things and things like that. So I can fetch the data from that client, pass it to a JSON, do a lot of stuff with this data, and return it to the client that asked me to get information from that specific client. All right? Is that okay? Yeah. Actually, you can pull the information from GitHub. Like you can just pull the changes are already up to date, so you can just pull the client information. And yeah, let's just continue with this. Okay, so this is a good example of the things that we need to be doing currently, because before building our controller, we need to actually start a new db.ts connection. And this db.ts, for doing this, we're going to use something called mysql 2, I think is the name of it. And also we're going to use how's it called, mysql 2, and in our ORM mysql, it's called sequelize. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, we have just 1 minute yet, but on the next stream, what we're going to learn is how to use sequelize. Sequelize is an ORM that we're going to learn what does an ORM means. It can handle Oracle, Postgres, and MySQL, MariaDB, SQLite, SQL Server, and more kind of database. And basically, it's the way that we can connect from our API to our database without the need of creating some stuff that we don't want to. But yeah, pretty much sequelize is the way that we can start defining tables, we can start making queries, we can start doing stuff with our databases independently which of the type of database that we're going to be using. And I'm sorry if this last part was a lot of confusement. um, I think it's going to be clear in the next section how we're working with these databases and how we can handle this information with the tables and with all the stuff. But don't worry about it. We're going to see it next session. So unfortunately, we're run out of time. We have only just 5 minutes yet, and we can use these 5 minutes to answer some questions if you have any kind of answer or have any kind of question. Can you elaborate what exactly controller does? Yeah. Hmm, let's see what this ChatGPT says. Uh, I was okay. Okay, I really like this comment. Okay, so ChatGPT says, all right, imagine you have a toy robot. Now, to make the robot to do what you want, you need a special remote control. The controller is like a remote control but for things like video games or drones instead of toys. It helps you to tell those things what to do, just like how you press buttons or on the remote to make a toy robot move forward or backward. So if we were doing something like, yeah, I can pass you. Yeah, sorry, I read something about the link. Thank you so much, Pranab. All right, so imagine that we were building a video game. If we were building something like Super Mario Bros., if we want to tell to program how Mario should move, we need to have a controller to tell Mario what to do if I press the right button, what jump does, maybe if there's this gravity or if it collides with an enemy or something like that. What happens to have a class that can show to me or that can tell Mario, hey, if this is a turtle, there's nothing going to there's nothing wrong and you're not going to be hearted. But if it is a King Koopa or something like that, you cannot touch it because you're going to be hearted, you're going to lose a life and things like that. So controllers basically are the way that we tell things how they're going to act and how they're going to handle information and data. And APIs are the same thing. If we have an e-commerce, the controller of a client is going to handle all the information or all the function that are going to be related with clients. So, for example, retrieve information data, retrieve information from a client, retrieve information from all clients, retrieve, add a new client, delete a client, delete information, add new information, modify information from the client, and things like that. That is why we want controllers. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Okay, so I think there are no questions. And if there are no more questions, I think I'll be seeing you on the next stream that is on Sunday, I think. Um, no, actually, the next stream that I have with you is until April 10. Tomorrow, I just have a mini event that I'm going to be participating in. And yeah, I'll be seeing you, and we'll be having two sessions of our Create Your First E-commerce API with Python on April 10. That is Wednesday. Wednesday we have two streams in different hours, and we're going to be using them for building awesome stuff. So yeah, I think that's all for me. Um, I'll be see you next time, and have a nice global hack week. Thank you so much for being with me. It was so nice talking with you and to talk a lot about Mexican food. But yeah, thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. See ya. Bye.